shed at the end of the garden.
Hello, and welcome to the shed. Come in, sit yourself down. Kettle's not long boiled. There's plenty going on out there. We've a new Prime Minister. The fellow used to be our mayor around here, so at least he'll know where Heywood is. And he's been in the job about 5 minutes before he was on the phone to President Trump. The World Cup has finished, and there's a row brewing about the same man wanting to be in the photographs. The war with Iran's going on, and you can see how that's going with the price board at the petrol station. I'll have more to say about it all in due course, when the dust's settled, if it does. But this week, my mind has been on more important things, and nothing is more important than family. Now you might hear in the background what seems like a train whistle. That's because I don't live far from the train station and the East Lancs Railway, and it's steam day today, so you're not hearing things if you hear the chuff, chuff, chuff of a train. Anyway, the schools are breaking up, and the shed has been informed. For most of the year, I run what the family calls Grandad's taxi. School runs, swimming lessons, the odd emergency delivery of a forgotten PE kit. Come the summer holidays, the taxi gets an upgrade, and it becomes a safari bus. The passengers are my great-grandchildren. They call me Grandad, because nobody has time to teach a 2-year-old the full title, and it suits me fine. I've driven worse behaved furs. The first expedition, as seems fit for a safari bus, was to Knowsley Safari Park. It had sounded like a good day out. Birds of prey, a bald eagle put through its paces, sea lions balancing balls on their noses. Good, right up to the time we reached the fork in the road for the monkey jungle. The children begged for the exciting route. Their enthusiasm won out over my better judgment, and I turned towards the enclosure. There was a sign at the entrance, "Enter at your own risk." Car parts cannot be recovered. I didn't much like the look of that, but we went in anyway. A monkey bounded onto the bonnet, looked at me dead in the eye through the windscreen, then climbed up and started banging on the roof. The children, thrilled a minute earlier, shrank back in their seats. I was very glad to spot a sign reading, "Change your mind, turn right for the escape road," and I didn't hang about following it. Our next trip, already planned, is hopefully a less nerve-jangling affair. Tandle Hill, over at Royton. 110 acres of beechwood on a hill, with a war memorial at the top and a view that reaches Wales on a good day. I've been there before, a long, long time ago. I couldn't tell you how we got there then. In those days we walked a lot, and Tandle Hill was just a few miles over the fields at the back of our house. That was before the M62 and the warehousing replaced the cows and hay meadows. I couldn't tell you why either. Nobody explained days out to children then. You were just told, "Get your shoes on." So you got your shoes on. My mum and dad kept a bakery. Small one, corner shop really. The two of them up before the birds, 6 days a week. A day off was rarer than sunshine, and that day we had both. What I do remember of it is the trees. Beeches, although I didn't know that was the name for them then. They went up and up, and the light came down through in sunbeams, and underneath there was nothing but space, fallen leaves, piles of them deep enough to kick. So I kicked them. What else was there to do? We played hide-and-seek among the fallen trunks. Somewhere in that game, my mum told us about an auntie of hers who hid hidden behind a tree as a girl. She was certain she couldn't be seen, but her ample backside was sticking out for half of Lancashire to admire. I laughed till I fell over. I couldn't tell you why that story stayed with me. It just has. I found out a long time after where the trees had come from. In 1819, men from Royton went up that hill to practice their marching. Then they walked into Manchester to the great meeting at St. Peter's Field, where the cavalry rode into the crowd and people died. That day has been called the Peterloo Massacre ever since. After that, the estate planted the beeches to stop anyone gathering on the hill again. They were a keep out sign. The keep out trees. 100 years on, in 1919, the man who owned it by then, Norris Bradbury, gave the whole park to the people of Royton. A thanks offering for peace. That's what it says on the stone by the gate. It was after the Great War, and 40-odd years after that, a baker's lad from Heywood was kicking the leaves about under the trees, the keep out trees, but nobody told him to keep out. I knew none of that at the time, of course. I knew the trees went up, and there was all that space underneath for running about in. Many years later, I stood in Cologne Cathedral, a magnificent building with tall, slender columns holding up a roof that's higher than it has any right to be. I had my neck bent right back, same as everybody else that was there. But then, suddenly, I wasn't in Germany at all. I was 8 years old, stood in the leaves on Tandle Hill, looking up at the sunbeams. I never said anything to anybody. You'd feel daft telling folk that a wood outside Royton and one of the great churches of Europe are the same place. But they are. It's the space that does it. All that room over your head, and the light coming down in pieces through the windows, or the trees, or the leaves, and you at the bottom of it, small and not minding one bit. So the second expedition of the summer is set. Tandle Hills, first week of the holidays, weather permitting, sandwiches packed. The leaves will be up, not down. You don't get the same day twice, but the space is still there, and the roof's the same height. Mrs. C's earwigging again. She just shouted, "Make sure you stand sideways, Stanley, when you're hiding. It runs in families." She's not wrong. Anyhow, that's your lot from the shed this week. If any of that put you in mind of a day out of your own, I'd like to hear it. Comments are open, wherever you're reading or listening from. Same time next week. Kettle will be on. Ta-da then.
Letters from the shed, words like morning rain. Pull up a chair and stay a while. I'm very glad.